Just then, Olivia emerged from the other room and saw the exchange. She shot me a triumphant, venomous look and lowered her voice. Daisy, don't you forget, that little murderer is your son now. Stay away from my Isla. She doesn't want anything to do with you. I lowered my eyes, my face impassive. After Olivia and Isla left, I went back to my room. Clutched in my palm was a small, folded piece of paper Isla had pressed into it when she shoved me. Mom, don't worry. The 4 words written in the delicate script she had practiced for 8 years in our past life hit me like a lightning bolt. I stood frozen in place. Isla, she was reborn too. The paper crinkled in my palm as I stared at those 4 words, my heart racing. Isla was reborn too. The realization hit me like a wave. She'd been trapped in Olivia's relentless pursuit of stardom, just as I'd feared, but she hadn't forgotten. Not the years we'd spent together, not the quiet moments of reading before bed, not the way I'd told her she could be anything she wanted, not just a pretty face. For weeks, I'd watched her withdraw into herself, her once bright eyes dulled by endless lessons and Olivia's sharp demands, and I'd grieved for the girl she'd been in my past life. Now, hope flickered, a fragile, dangerous thing, but hope nonetheless. I tucked the note into my jewelry box under a pearl necklace my mother had left me, and went downstairs to find Leo. He was sitting at the kitchen island, bent over a math workbook, his brow furrowed in concentration. The bandage on his forehead had fallen off, leaving a faint pink scar that would fade with time. When he heard my footsteps, he looked up, his expression softening. Did you talk to Isla? He asked, his voice quiet. He'd noticed her distance too, the way she'd shrink away from Olivia's loud boasts at dinner, the way her hands would tremble when Olivia snapped at her for wasting time with a book. I did, I said, pulling out a chair beside him. She's not doing well. I didn't tell him about the note, not yet. Isla's secret was hers to share, and I didn't want to put her in more danger. Olivia's temper was unpredictable. If she found out Isla was reaching out to me, there's no telling what she'd do. Olivia's pushing her too hard. No child should have to work that much or skip school for photo shoots and piano lessons. Leo nodded, his jaw tightening. She looked sad today. When you patted her shoulder, she didn't mean to push you. I saw her eyes. She was scared. He'd always been perceptive, this boy. In my past life, Olivia had drowned that perceptiveness in praise for violence and indifference to others, but here, under my care, it had bloomed into empathy. Can we help her? I reached across the table and squeezed his hand. We'll try, but we have to be careful. Isla's scared of Olivia, and right now, the best thing we can do is be there for her, quietly. If she needs us, she'll let us know. Leo nodded, but I could see the determination in his eyes. He'd already decided he was going to protect her, just as he'd protected his deskmate from the bully on his first day of school. It made my chest ache. This boy, who'd been labeled a monster by so many, had a heart bigger than anyone I knew. Over the next few months, Leo and I settled into a rhythm. He excelled in school, his grades top of the class, and he joined the debate team, channeling his natural stubbornness into articulate arguments. He still got into the occasional scuffle, but now it was always to defend someone, a freshman being picked on by seniors, a teacher's aide having trouble with a rowdy student. Each time, he'd come home with a scraped knee or a black eye, and each time, I'd patch him up without scolding, just asking if he was okay and if the person he'd helped was safe. He'd grin sheepish but proud, and say, I did what was right, Mom. Olivia, meanwhile, was riding high on Isla's growing success. Isla had landed a role in a popular children's show, playing a precocious younger sister, and her face was everywhere, billboards, cereal boxes, social media. Olivia paraded her around at every society event, preening as people praised Isla's natural talent and her own excellent parenting. But behind closed doors, things were unraveling. I heard the screams first, late one night when I was picking up Leo from a debate tournament. We'd parked outside Olivia's mansion. Leo had wanted to leave a book he'd found for Isla, a collection of fairy tales we'd loved in my past life, and through the open bedroom window, we could hear Olivia shouting, You're supposed to smile. Smile, damn it. Do you know how much this commercial pays? Do you know how many people would kill for this opportunity? There was a crash, like something fragile being thrown against the wall. Then Isla's voice, small and broken, I'm tired, Mommy. I just want to sleep. I haven't finished my homework, and I have a test tomorrow. Homework, tests, who cares about that? Olivia shrieked. You're a star. Stars don't need to waste time on stupid schoolwork. You think Miley Cyrus or Selena Gomez got famous by doing math problems? No, they worked. And you're lazy, ungrateful. I gave you everything, and this is how you repay me. Leo's hand tightened on the steering wheel, his knuckles white. We have to do something, he said, his voice low and angry. She's hurting her. I put a hand on his arm, shaking my head. Not yet. If we burst in there, Olivia will spin it, say we're jealous, say we're trying to ruin Isla's career. Isla needs to trust us enough to ask for help first. We can't force her. But Leo didn't listen. He opened the car door and stormed up the driveway. I followed close behind, my heart in my throat. We banged on the front door, and after a few minutes, Olivia answered, her hair disheveled, her face flushed with rage. When she saw us, her expression twisted into a sneer. What do you want? Come to gawk at the poor little starlet? Save your sympathy. Isla's fine. She's just being a spoiled brat. Let us see her, Leo said, his voice steady, despite the fact that he was only 9 years old. We want to talk to her. Olivia laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. You talk to my daughter? Why? So you can fill her head with your nonsense about school and normalcy? She doesn't need that. She's destined for greatness. Greatness shouldn't make her cry, I said, keeping my voice calm. She's a child, Olivia, not a paycheck. That struck a nerve. Olivia's face turned crimson. Get off my property, both of you, before I call the police and have you arrested for trespassing. She started to slam the door, but Leo was faster. He wedged his foot in the gap, pushing it open. We found Isla in her bedroom, sitting on the floor beside a broken vase, her cheeks streaked with tears. Her hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail, her eyes red and puffy, and she was wearing a sparkly dress that was far too mature for her age. When she saw us, she froze, then scrambled to her feet, wiping her eyes. I'm okay, she said, her voice trembling. I dropped the vase. It was an accident. I knelt down in front of her, gently brushing a strand of hair from her face. It's okay to not be okay, I said softly. You don't have to pretend for me. Or for Leo. Her lower lip trembled. She yells at me all the time, she whispered. If I mess up a line, if I don't smile enough, if I say I'm tired, she gets so angry. And I'm so tired, Mom. I miss reading. I miss going to school and playing with the other kids. I don't want to be a star anymore. The word mom hit me like a punch to the gut. She called me that in my past life when she was scared or sad, and hearing it now, after all these years, made tears prick at my eyes. I pulled her into a hug, and she clung to me, sobbing. I'm sorry I pushed you at dinner, she said between gasps. I was scared she'd get mad at you if I talked to you. I left the note in your hand because I didn't know what else to do. I didn't think you'd find it. I found it, I said, holding her tight. And I'm here. We're both here. Leo stood beside us, his arms crossed, his face set in a fierce scowl. She won't hurt you anymore, he said to Isla. I won't let her. Olivia had followed us into the room, and now she stood in the doorway, her face a mask of fury. Get your hands off my daughter, she said, her voice cold. Isla, come here. Now. Isla pulled away from me, her eyes darting between Olivia and me. Fear flickered in her gaze, but then she looked at Leo, who nodded reassuringly, and something shifted. She straightened her shoulders, wiping her tears. No, she said. It was a small word, but it echoed through the room. I'm not coming. I want to stay with Daisy. I want to go home with her. Olivia's jaw dropped. She looked like she couldn't believe her ears. What did you say? You ungrateful little brat. I gave you everything. A roof over your head, nice clothes, a career. You gave me nothing I wanted, Isla said, her voice growing stronger. All you care about is money. All you care about is beating Daisy. You don't love me. You never have. That was the final straw. Olivia lunged forward, her hand raised, and I stepped in front of Isla, blocking her. Don't you dare touch her, I said, my voice sharp. If you lay a finger on her, I'll call the police. And I'll tell them everything. How you're forcing her to work long hours, how you're neglecting her education, how you're emotionally abusing her. Do you really think the public would react well to finding out America's sweetheart is being treated like this? Do you think Dad would keep funding your little project if he knew the truth?